in the frame.
Not there, but here it is.
I mean, like on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. So we're going to get started, everybody. Thank you guys for being here. This is Andrew from Polygon. He's going to give us a rundown on the Polygon Guild today. Andrew, you do a free class on YouTube. That's going to replace this month.
I'll do anything for people for Polygon. Anything for Polygon, anything for Beefy Finance.
Yeah, Beefy Finance
me
team
know.
has been here to present that. So Andrew's an awesome guy, very knowledgeable. We're really happy to have him here. I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown of the events we've got going on for the rest of, well, not this month, but tomorrow, September 1st. September is going to be a really big month for us. The biggest event of that time frame is going to be on Thursday, September 2nd. We have our big 1-year anniversary. It's going to be here at Crypto World all day, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Yeah, Thursday the 22nd. Yep, we've got a long laundry list of guest speakers and VIPs that are going to be coming in. We're going to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We're going to have games, giveaways, prizes. It's going to be a really big deal.
That sounds fun.
Yes, it does. We're really excited for that.
I'm
It's
going
probably
to
one of the
also
biggest
be here
events
for
that
my
we've had.
birthday.
Is your birthday? Oh, my mom's birthday's on the 13th. So that's going to be on Thursday the 22nd. We've got our Patreon Top Golf outing on Thursday the 8th. We've got Crypto Over Coffee on the 6th. That's going to be, so 1 week from today, we're going to have Mike Franco. He's going to be coming in and talk about hardware value and how you can, appropriately value the piece of mining equipment that you have versus the coin that you're trying to mine. There's some really interesting math that he's going to do for us. That's going to be awesome. And I think that's actually going to be it. There will be no Crypto Over Coffee the week of the 1-year anniversary. We're just going to keep that, week just focused on that event. It's going to be really, really big. So I hope you guys all can make that. RSVP to that one, please. I know all you guys are so regular here. You guys don't always RSVP to every single little Crypto Over Coffee, but for that event, we've got to get a really good head count so not much food to buy. I think that's it, Jeff. Is there anything else update-wise?
Nope, that's it. I think Ballet is going to donate wallets for everybody.
Yeah.
For the event.
We've got a couple of really awesome sponsors that are going to make
Yeah.
this event really, really killer. So
And Koi Metro is sponsoring a lot of the food.
Any news on Whale Tub that you can talk about? Whale Tub.
No.
From Marcus, Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah. No updates on that yet.
No updates on Whale Tub.
All right, so I'm going to head over to Andrew.
My phone started ringing. Great. Probably should put that on silent for this. All right. So yes, as Jonas mentioned, my name is Andrew. I am the Polygon Guild leader for St. Louis. How does one become a Polygon Guild leader, you may ask? You just say, hey, I live in St. Louis. I'll start a Polygon Guild. And they said, great, you're our guy. So, and that's how it happens. They made me this cool little art for St. Louis. I've said, we got the arch, we got baseball. Polygon found in India, like, oh, we'll put a cricket field on there. I'm not going to just leave the arch. So it's all good. Yeah. And we are at Crypto World. So thank you, Crypto World, for hosting us again. So here's what we're going to talk about today. Disclaimer, security, what is Polygon, and then some ecosystem updates. I think if some of you have been to this before, but I'll go through Polygon quickly with some new graphics and hopefully some better explanations. So yes, informational purposes only. Do your own research, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a Polygon fan. If you choose to participate in Polygon or not, that's totally on you. I'm just trying to give you some information to hopefully make that easier for you and answer any questions you have. So is there any questions before we get started? No more questions? Okay, good. All right, security. Keep your seed phrase safe. I recommend writing it down somewhere that is secure. There's a lot of different options for this. You can get like a metal thing and scratch it on like a sheet of metal, so it's like essentially fireproof. You can write it on a piece of paper in like ultraviolet ink that'll only show up under black light. Never enter it into any website. Like only do it when you are for sure recovering a wallet or changing to a new wallet. A lot of people don't know that if you have a seed phrase with MetaMask, that's your same seed phrase with Trust Wallet. Like it's all on the same blockchain. So you don't have to like send your MetaMask wallet to your new wallet. It's just your seed phrase imports your wallet. Do not click random links when your wallet is enabled. If you're going to be like clicking on random links, use a separate web browser, like in incognito mode. That's not going to like inject your Web3 wallet stuff when you click on that link. There's also been things where some browsers can write to your essentially like your paste cache. So make sure you have that extension installed in like Chrome or Safari that disables websites to be able to write to your essentially like your Control-C memory. Right, and also network. People send coins to like the wrong network. I see like a Reddit post like every day. It's like, oh, I was sent like Polygon assets to my Binance Smart Chain address. And so you're never gonna see those again. I'm sorry. Like you can pay Binance like $500 to manually recover it for you. So if it's like less than $500, you're probably not gonna be having a good time. And also use mobile computing when you can. The OS on a mobile phone is much more secure than the OS on your like laptop or desktop. There's just a lot less options for custom software. Everything that you interact with is going to be through a website or through like an app store where everything's been like verified and validated. So that's not the case with PCs and laptops and Macs. All right, so what is Polygon? Polygon is a Ethereum scaling solution. There's a lot of different ways to scale Ethereum. You can do it off-chain, you can do on-chain, you can do a layer 2, you can do sharding, you can do roll-ups, both optimistic and zero knowledge. You can have state channels. You have side chains and plasma chains. So Polygon is sort of like a hybrid of plasma chain and side chain. So a plasma chain is a copy of the blockchain that you're writing to. So Polygon runs its own copy of the Ethereum blockchain. That's the plasma chain. That's where you can do fraud proofs. You compare the Polygon Ethereum chain to the real Ethereum chain and make sure there's no discrepancies before you make a commitment. So then
if you do something on the
And it's really a smart contract that exists on both chains. So you want to send your near assets to Ethereum, you're going to burn your assets on near. It's going to create wrapped versions on Ethereum, and vice versa. If you want to send Ethereum stuff to near, it's going to burn your Ethereum stuff, and it's going to open it up on near as a wrapped version. So it's a smart contract that operates on both blockchains. Does anyone use any of these? Anyone use these blockchains or these bridges? Which one do you use?
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, okay.
Ethereum, Bitcoin, we've done wormhole from Solana, worked on Polkadot, and looked at Chainlink.
Okay.
As well.
Yes, so that's good. So I really don't use these things. This is just, I know a lot of people are into like the multi-chain as well as bridges. So there's a lot of vulnerabilities around bridges. A lot of the most recent exploits have been like bridge exploits. Like Harmony, it was like they minted like 1.6 billion of like the Harmony stablecoin through an exploit. Wormhole with Solana, they got like another, multi-$100 million exploit. So it's really, really iffy sometimes.
I'm sorry. Could I ask a question?
Yeah.
When you're like transferring through or switching chains, what for what purpose, or like what are you accomplishing when you do that? I'm sorry, all this was very new to me.
So say
I'm not
like
chain hopped or anything.
you got started on Avalanche, like I'm gonna start on Avalanche and I have all my assets on Avalanche. Or it's like, oh hey, like there's this really cool thing on Ethereum that I want to try out, so I need to send some of my Avalanche assets to Ethereum so I can do that thing. A lot of it was like DeFi chasing yield. So if there's a new chain that's offering a lot of yield as they build more and more liquidity. So to say like, hey, I take all my Binance Smart Chain assets, I'm going to take them over to trying to think of like one that was like the Optimism, this OP, like has really low liquidity right now. So you're going to add more and more liquidity, you're going to get more fees as you if you like stake there, as more people join the ecosystem. Does that make sense?
In an effort to earn more, mostly.
Yeah, earn more. So it's called like yield chasing.
Yield chasing.
Yeah.
A lot of it's too for some of the fees, like USDT, which is basically Tether. It's on top of Ethereum, but now on other chains like Tron. You can use USD Tron. It's the same coin, but run at a cheaper thing. I mean, that's one of Polygon's great things about Polygon is you can do Ethereum transactions really cheaply. You can cut off a lot of the gas fees.
Yeah, so that's part of it is when you're onboarding onto crypto, like on-ramping, changing your fiat into crypto, a lot of the US-based exchanges only had like Bitcoin or Ethereum mainnet. They didn't have like all these other layer 2s and layer 1s. So say you on-ramped with Coinbase, you were only on Ethereum. So you had to use like one of these bridge protocols to move it to where you wanted it to be. If that makes sense.
A lot of projects use them too, because if, like, let's say you build on a near protocol and you want to raise funds in BNB or Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, you have all these funds and you be able to get them in and out. So that way you can continue to have operations.
Yeah, or say you run Harmony and there's that massive exploit, like, oh, I want to get all my stuff off Harmony because it's not secure. So you use the Harmony bridge to get to where, you might feel safer.
Is it correct that the primary reason for jumping chains is yield chasing?
I wouldn't say that's the primary, that's one reason. That's not the primary.
Or new projects that you like.
Yeah, I would say it's all about
I've
projects.
done
It's
that.
probably more about projects, yeah.
More.
Like
'Cause,
I started with Binance, I've moved all mine over, for example.
What's EVM focused?
So that's Ethereum Virtual Machine is EVM. So these bridges are focused on any type of protocol that is compatible with Ethereum. So like Connect, I know they have it up there under Binance, but it's really like a multi-chain bridge. If it's anything that works with Ethereum, you can use Connect for as well. But yeah, like you said, the project thing is probably the main reason. I think it was, yeah, NFTs too. So it was like DYDX was an exchange, and they were on Ethereum, and their community voted to move to like Cosmos, I believe. So it's like some whole entire communities want to migrate because there's less fees, or there's more opportunity.
Yeah, that happened after the Axie Infinity crash too.
Yeah.
So,
So, yeah.
with Polygon,
Axie Infinity made their own chain called Ronin that was also exploited. So
Polygon snatched up a bunch of those projects.
yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, about covers it. Unless there's any more questions about bridges. This is just how you move stuff around. It's really tangential to Polygon. I know that Polygon is like, it's in this Ethereum thing. The logo's not there, but yeah, it's right there in the middle. All right.
Does that make sense as far as the bridges? Kind of. So another way to think about it is that you've got different plots of land. Let's say you've got 10 different nations. Each nation has its own currency. Now, to get their currency over to this other nation, you need a bridge between the lands. And that's how you can basically swap back and forth. And so they may not, and a lot of times they'll just wrap that. And so it's kind of like they're not actually taking it over. They're just saying, okay, nation A wrapped over use in nation B and vice versa. So it's just basically how you get money across different lands where they have different currencies.
That's a good analogy. All right, so scaling Ethereum is very challenging. There's a lot of issues with doing the scaling. There's the kind of like the three trade-offs. Talk about this a lot: centralization, security, and scalability. So you can kind of have two, but not all three. Is the current thinking. It's kind of like you can have something that's good and fast, but it's going to be expensive. You can't get something good, fast, and cheap. You have to have one trade-off there. So and there's a lot of different scaling solutions that you might want depending on your use case. And there's more new projects coming online that, one scaling solution might not work for the other projects. They use the word homogeneity. There's essentially like no sameness across different protocols. Like a lot of the alt layer ones that use different programming languages that don't work well with Ethereum. And then there's also, different projects building scaling solutions, or it's building entirely alternate options like Polkadot, Solana, Binance Smart Chain, stuff like that. So Polygon's really a suite of scaling solutions. It's not just one thing. There is the Polygon mainnet thematic token, but under that, there's more protocols like Polygon Edge, Avail, Hermes, Midden, Nightfall, and Zero. We'll get into a little bit more of what those are. You kind of see as you go to the left, the security is lower, the costs are lower. As you go to the right, the security is higher, but the costs are higher. So here's kind of a definition of all those that we just saw. So Polygon Edge is really like a modular framework. It's if you want your own projects, you're going to want to build on Polygon Edge. It doesn't really, it's almost like a layer 3 to Polygon. And I'll give an example of a Polygon Edge project here coming up. The Polygon proof of stake chain, that is the main chain that if you use Polygon now, it's the one you're probably used to working with. Polygon Hermes is an Ethereum layer 2 solution. I didn't know this, it's a zero knowledge proof solution that uses the roll-up method. Polygon acquired this company, Hermes, so it's almost a year ago now. Polygon Avail, we talked about this last month. It's also towards standalone chains and off-chain scaling. This it's in development. is focused on data availability. So data availability is just proving that the data exists. It's not data storage. Data storage would be something like a Filecoin or I don't know, like Arweave maybe. Polygon Avail is just focused on saying, hey, the data's there. If you want to get it, you're gonna have to use a different solution. But it's just really quickly proving that the data exists. All right, so Polygon Nightfall. This is like a joint venture with EY. Many people might know EY is Ernst & Young. They're one of the big four, sort of like auditing firms, accounting firms. This is a privacy-focused zero-knowledge rollup. It's really built for enterprises, still in development. I think, EY is gonna adopt it. So I'm sure other, and they have a customer base that will probably adopt it as well if it works out. Polygon Midden, Stark-based Ethereum compatible rollup. So Stark, remind me what Stark stands for.
Succinct to argument recursive knowledge.
That's right. Succinct
Had that
to
on
argument
my
recursive knowledge compatible rollup.
You know that.
But it's snark, but T, and snark is succinct, no argument. So the T is the only difference there. So
Yeah. So people don't know, Brendan is a blockchain OG from like 10 years ago. So he's like 70 in blockchain years. He's the oldest person in the room. I'm a mere like 14-year-old compared to him.
all you kids get off my lawn.
All right, so enterprise chains coming soon. This is something that Polygon's focused on. It'll probably be through Nightfall, and then Polygon Zero is another EVM compatible ZK rollup based on Plonky 2, which is a common recursive proof system. A lot of projects use that. All right. And this I announced this last month as well, but Polygon is making a zero knowledge Ethereum virtual machine compatible protocol. There was an article from Vitalik Buterin this month where he kind of goes through 4 different classifications of EVM compatible zero knowledge proofs. Polygon is one of the more advanced ones out there. We can talk about that more if people want to a little bit later. It's still pretty technical. It's not commonly used yet, but they think that zero knowledge is going to be big because that essentially proves like, hey, I know something without having to reveal the information. So it's like, hey, I can prove to you how old I am without telling you exactly how old I am, which is pretty interesting to be able to do that.
Andrew, is that like I can prove I'm over 21 without telling you exactly how old
Right.
I am?
Yeah. And like, I've never seen you. Like, all I know is here's an address and, oh, the user's over 21. And I don't know exactly how old they are or their birthday. I just know that they're over 21.
Was that the article by chance that they made a reference to you're 21 years of age, so if somebody's going into a bar, they need to prove that they're 21, but as long as you've got the ability to prove it, you don't need an ID.
You do need an ID, but
Well,
not as
not-
an ID is what you think of.
Not
right?
like a driver's license.
Yeah, you'll need like an address, like a QR code or
Flash it.
something. Yeah.
It says who you are and all that, so
Yeah.
it keeps you without having to divulge a lot of.
Yeah, you're not gonna have to like show them
Personal
your like
information.
address and your birth date and like your weight and hair color. It's just like, hey, this person's over 21.
Or
Okay,
a good
cool.
application is, let's say you're going to apply for credit to buy a car. So instead of every single car, so the car dealership will shop that around for like a bunch of different places. So instead of them and 15 other banks knowing who you are, where you live, where you've lived, who your family members are, how old they are, everything that's in your credit report, which is pages and pages and pages and pages of personal information, they can just say creditworthy. And that's all the information they need to see.
They were talking about that in healthcare as well.
Yeah, and help.
Big time.
Yeah, so there's a lot of applications, especially around privacy. So, there's so much data that's been leaked already. It's really important that we put like a lid on that.
And blockchain is about extreme transparency. So how do you say you're creditworthy on the blockchain where everything's exposed to the entire world without people being able to do something with your data?
Yeah.
Zero knowledge proofs.
So yeah, this is kind of the diagram of how it's going to work. So there's user transactions. They get batched on the layer 2, which is ZK EVM. And then they all go into one validity proof and they get committed to the Ethereum layer 1. So it's supposed to be like a highly scalable way of just doing transactions on a Polygon. All right, so I know Dan, you had a question about staking last time. So there is a staking page on the Polygon website. You can either become a delegator or set up a node, and this is all like in Web3. So there's a list of validators that you can delegate your Matic tokens to, or you can start your own node, provided you have enough Matic tokens. And right now, the APR is 6.5% roughly. So I don't know if that's juicy enough for you, Dan. Probably not. No.
He needs Luna numbers.
These bigger numbers get pumped over.
No, actually, that's actually pretty good. I mean, so I'd be much more comfortable staking Matic than Luna 2 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What's the staking period on Polygon?
It's a staking period.
How long do I have to lock it up?
21 days. Is it 21
I don't
days
know.
to unstake?
It could be 20 days. I don't know. But there's other solutions. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
What's the minimum to be a validator?
I don't know. Let's check it out. Are we on the internet still?
I don't think there's a minimum. It's you have to be in the top percentiles that like aggregate over the yeah. The total of all the validators that sign onto the block, that stake is what validates it.
Yeah, I don't know how much you have to.
That's how a lot of it works on those type.
Yeah, so if you look, there's 100 global validators. There's almost 1,600 delegators. There's 2.24 billion staked, and the lifetime rewards for the Polygon blockchain is getting close to 500 million. So if you can become a delegator, it's going to give you the list of potentially. You can see the 100 validators, and you can kind of choose like who you want to delegate to. And there's like the commission. So if you start a node and you get, people delegating to you, you're going to earn some of their reward as well. But yeah, I think some have a 0% commission. So it's just, these are all run by the Matic Foundation. Yeah.
What's the difference between a validator and a delegator?
So validator is actually running the protocol. The delegator is just, you just assign your Matic to them and collect rewards. You don't have to run any. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
So like,
It's like when you delegate, you are the delegator, and then the validator is your representative to that
Yeah.
group of validators.
so it's like, hey, I'm going to delegate you 100 Matic. I'm going to earn rewards on that 100 Matic that I delegated to the validator, minus any commission.
Think of it like a senator, like your vote goes towards them.
Like when you pay them money and they do what you want.
Yeah, it's like a senator.
That's a lobbyist.
Somehow.
Like Dan was the node, he would be a validator, but I gave my Matic to him to keep on his node. I would be a
So you get a
You
Another-
don't give it to me. Basically, in your wallet, you're assigning it to the address or to the serial number that the node has. The node operator or validators run the full protocol of the chain. So what happens is when they come to a consensus to write the next block, you have to have certain rules, and it varies by different blockchains. But in order to write the next block, there has to be some sort of consensus between all of the validators out there. Without the validators, you don't get blocks, and then the network's not there.
Is Polygon capped at 100 validators?
No, I don't think so. That's just the number that we have right now.
Nice.
Usually within a proof of stake system, the more ownership, or the more delegation you have, it usually weighs into who gets chosen to sign the next block. So if you have a validator that has a disproportionate amount of the delegation, then that's not necessarily good, because then they would be writing most of the blocks, and then they can manipulate things in protocol software. They could potentially hack it. So you want to kind of spread the delegation out as much as possible so that you have different people validating the blocks.
Are the validators, is that like a cloud-based system, like 82 out of 100 are in Amazon Web Services?
Could be this usually.
That, yeah,
Not by requirement, but by practice, yes.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
And is 100 considered enough for a $2 billion network across the world, or that's looking to be?
That's what's staked.
Made
It's
bigger.
like I don't know what the market cap of Polygon is today. It's like
it could be
8
enough
billion.
depending on how the protocol is set up. I mean, some platforms want multiple, or a lot. Some like don't necessarily need a lot. I mean, the key is if you have 100 validators, you don't want one with 80% of the stake, and then you want to have it spread out as democratically as possible over those 100
Yeah.
validators.
I think like Binance, like it's third largest, I'd say blockchain. They have like 21 validators. Like they're limited to 21. Like it's a hard cap at 21.
Same with the OS.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I was gonna say and then some of them like Hedera Hashgraph, you need like a supercomputer to be able to run a node.
Yeah,
It's like ridiculous. It's like you're gonna need $100,000 computer just to run a node.
Jeff,
For,
you
like-
sell those, don't you?
So what?
You sell those
Supercomputers?
for the, Solana miners? $100,000.
So, final question, I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. So I have 100 Matic and I want Dan to be my staker.
Yep.
I don't, if I'm understanding correct, I do not send Dan my Matic where he's in control of them. I maintain full
Yes,
control
yes.
over my keys
Mhm.
in a hot wallet or in a cold storage situation.
And wherever. So what
Either way.
what you do is once you need your key to be in a hot wallet in order to stake, in order to like unstake from a person. But then you move that into a cold wallet, like if you don't want to do anything. Hot wallets are for active things that you're doing. Cold wallets are for like long-term storage. And so what'll happen is when you stake, you're putting your tokens in a contract that's associated, and it associates that weight with someone else, whoever you're delegating to, right? And then if that person, if they do something bad and it's like proven that they did something wrong, then the rest of the validators, they submit a proof. It goes through that arbitration process, and if it's found out that person actually did, create an invalid block, you get slashed, and they lose their stake. Like it gets burned. It gets sent to all the other validators. Like this guy didn't do his job, and because your stake is part of that bunch, you have an incentive to like make sure that your validators aren't messing around, and the people that you're staking on aren't messing around. And if you start noticing them getting hairy, or you start noticing like being a little squirrely in their actions, you just pull your stake right out, and they don't have control over that account at all. It's run by the consensus model, not the validator themselves.
So as a person with 100 Matic, I might be better off splitting those up between 3 or 4 different validators just to make sure I don't get slashed.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the most secure.
Yep. All right. So, and there's also some other things with liquid staking. We'll talk about that in a bit. All right, let's talk about the Polygon ecosystem announcements. So here's where we were last month, the end of July. We had about 120,000 weekly active users, 2.7 million transactions per day. The cost per transaction, less than 2 pennies. Transactions per address was only 3. Revenue per day was 45,000. So all the validators are sharing in that $45,000 of revenue every day. So here we are. This is from today, August 30th. So we lost a couple weekly active users. Transactions are up, costs are down. transactions per address up slightly, and revenue is flat. So
Is the active users active addresses?
yes, active addresses. So there's like an insane amount of addresses on Polygon, but this is like the weekly user base. It's probably like, I don't know, millions and millions of addresses. Not everyone uses it every day. Like, I certainly don't use Polygon every week. All right, so here's the top 6 protocols for the past week. Sunflower Land is like a play-to-earn game. Quick Swap is a decentralized exchange. Arcade is a game. Uniswap, decentralized exchange. Planet 9 and Snooker also play-to-earn games. So Sunflower Land used to be called Sunflower Farmers. And when it first came out, it was like taking up 80% of the block space on Matic. It was nuts. And they had to like change the game and put it on, I think, Polygon Edge, so like essentially its own like supernet is what they call it, to just free up that block space. Those gas fees were going really high. It was like 50 cents a transaction, which it's usually 2 pennies. So people were getting upset. There's a lot of people that use Polygon. You live in like emerging markets. Like that's a lot of expense to them when they're transferring very minimal value between each other. All right, so this is the NFT metrics. So 60,000 new NFT wallets, 183,000 active NFT wallets, 4.4 million NFTs were minted, almost 10 million NFTs transacted, and then the volume, the value was 650 million. So a lot of NFT value being exchanged on Polygon, mostly because the gas fees are low. It's very similar to Ethereum. A lot of projects are launching their NFTs on Polygon. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. Here's the monthly chart. Matic to the US dollar. Looks like it was 80 cents. It's up percent. We had like an inter-month high around 92 in the middle there. Tracks really closely with Ethereum. Today Ethereum was almost 1,600. It was 1,480 yesterday, so big increase since yesterday. And just a little off the inter-month high of almost 1,700. All right, so some more updates. You probably saw that Dogecoin selected Polygon Zero for their layer 2 scaling solution. I didn't know that Doge had a scaling problem, but they did build a layer 2 with Polygon. So does anyone use Doge? Do you really?
Yeah.
Can you talk about this?
So I use Doge for transactions. Like I've used it to buy like Tesla products and stuff.
Okay.
But, this is actually new. So.
Oh, is it new too?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Dogecoin?
I told you.
Yeah, Elon Musk is a big Dogecoin fan. When it was announced that Tesla sold some of their Bitcoin in their SEC filing, they said, we didn't sell any of our Dogecoin though, only the Bitcoin. We're keeping the Dogecoin. So yeah, that was an interesting one. What? So yeah. Also, yeah, a scaling solution, not just for Ethereum, but other blockchains as well. All right, so you probably saw this, maybe not. I'm not an institutional investor, but Coinbase has an institutional arm, and they send out reports. And they wrote a big report about how a layer 2, they focused on Polygon in the article, could take up the majority of the fee after. So I don't understand how. They kind of explain it in the article. As miners go away and the fees per transaction come down, there might be a lot more activity on the layer 2s, essentially. It's like the incentive to interact on Ethereum is not there. If it's just layer 2s committing blocks, the fees will be at the layer 2 level. So Coinbase was bullish on layer 2s. in this article for institutional investors. You may not realize like a lot of like retirement funds are getting into crypto products. So like Fairfax County, where I used to live, like the teachers and the firefighters have these big like, you know, $30-50 million investments into crypto. So they're banking on being able to pay some pensions out with crypto. All right, so Tom Brady's NFT project Autograph will go live on Polygon next month. Essentially like a fan thing. It's like, hey, if you have this NFT, you get access to events. There was other Tom Brady NFTs that were on Polygon through ESPN. It was based on a docu-series. You may know that ESPN is owned by Disney. And also, we announced last month that Polygon's studio, the gaming and multimedia part of Polygon, was accepted in Disney's accelerator. So if you look at previous Disney accelerator companies, they were focused on things like robotics, other visual media for the theme parks for the movies, and also like toy companies. So this is a big metaverse play for Disney. Also for Tom Brady. I think it's really, I'm not a big Tom Brady fan. I know people are like super Tom Brady fans. I've worked with a guy that wears a Tom Brady lanyard, even though he's fell away and like has lived his whole life. I'm like, how did you become a Tom Brady fan? But this is a good way for Tom Brady to interact with his fan base, also sort of quantify like who your biggest fan is, like who owns the most Tom Brady NFTs.
Do you know where the treasure is for this?
Sorry, 1 second. Does anybody have any sports NFTs like NBA Top Shot or NFL All Day? Is anyone doing those things? You are?
I have a Jason Tatum.
You have a what?
Jason Tatum one.
Jason Tatum?
Yeah.
Is that a Top Shot?
Yes, Top Shot.
Is that an NFT?
Yeah.
And that's on the Flow. That's on the Flow blockchain. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that pretty easy to use or?
Yeah, it is. It was actually gifted to me, so it was pretty easy to move over them. So like they're connected with like the Dapper wallets.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you moved it off Flow to somewhere else?
Uh-huh.
Where'd you put it?
In that Dapper wallet.
Dapper wallet. Okay. All right. All right. So Gemini announces Polygon State. You ever know who Gemini is? So Gemini is that centralized exchange that's run by the Winklevoss twins. So you can stake Polygon with Gemini to earn the staking rewards. They call it liquid staking. Maybe not in this case, but there's also like Lido. You've probably heard of Lido for liquid staking with ETH, or Stater Labs. There's a lot of these different staking solutions that you can use if you don't want to run like the protocol on your machine. So Gemini just announced this one this month. Probably more exchanges will pick it up. All right, so who uses Steam?
Still.
Steam to, not STEEM, but Steam like for video games. Steam for video games. Anybody use Steam for video games? Nobody? Okay.
I do.
You don't use Steam for video games. So
I like the video game.
GameSwift was called Star Terra. It's on the Luna, the Terra blockchain. And they are going to Polygon. So GameSwift is trying to become the Steam for Web3. So Steam's come out and said, we're not going to allow any NFT games, any play-to-earn games on our platform. So that's, if one person, if the biggest, like gaming launch engine in the world says, hey, we're not going to do this, like that opens up an opportunity for someone to say, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to be the leader in this. And it's being built on Polygon. Right, and One Planet is now on Polygon. They were on Terra, and they're also They're now on Polygon, and they're driving some of that NFT volume that we saw earlier. $650 million is a lot of weekly volume changing hands. And then Reddit, you could buy these last month, but now they're giving some away. They're randomly generated, and there's already like a secondary market for these things. It's going crazy. So
How much are they going for?
it depends on how they look. So if you get one that looks good, like $99 is probably not unreasonable.
Is there like a rarity rank to them?
Probably. I don't know what the rating rank is. So I say free because you have to be like, you have to have a certain number of karma and a certain level of activity to be eligible. And it'll just pop up on your feed and say, claim your NFT. So I'm obviously not active enough to get one. So, and it only works on a desktop, not on mobile. So that's another thing about it.
What's the one that looks good?
It's subjective based on what you think looks good. Okay. Yeah. So if any of those appeal to you, then that's what you want. It's kind of cool because it shows up in your post as like the hexagon shape, the same thing that Twitter did for NFTs. Instead of a circle, you have a hexagon with this little character in it.
Is that Immutable X's thing?
What?
The hexagon around the NFTs?
No, that's Twitter's thing. I think Twitter was the first one to use it.
This is a good record.
Yeah.
I got it.
You got one?
Yeah.
Enoch got one. Do you have a good looking one or an ugly one?
I like it.
You like it? He likes it. All right. All right. Let's see it.
I'll agree with him there. That one's cool.
Oh, yeah. That is a good one. Is that a random one? Or is that one you got?
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Not gonna. No jokes. That's a good one. That's really cool. So yeah, like there's a lot of buzz about this the past 2 weeks. People trading NFTs. And, yeah.
You gotta show the camera.
Right. You gotta show the live streamers.
That's pretty awesome.
Compared to those ones, I've never
Cell phone launch too.
It's funny because some people got really hideous ones, and they're like, the hideous ones are getting a lot of attention too. It's like, this thing's so ugly. But yeah, hopefully I'll get mine soon. Hopefully. All right, so Polygon Guilds, it's really a worldwide thing. Last month we covered, I don't know if you saw, remember the ones we saw in like India and Africa, there's like huge groups of people. It's really geared toward the Polygon's being adopted more by the people that need it the most. So if you live in an emerging market, your local currency is probably, inflating double or triple digits. You're going to want to transact in like Tether. Tether is like the most common stable coin that's used worldwide. If you just look at the volumes, it's almost has its like entire market cap circulating like every day, which is insane. It's like 50 billion every day getting moved around. That's why the low gas fees are important to these people. But we got some more first world updates today. So here's Seoul. They got the cool floor stands. I should get some of those floor stands.
Is that a Polygon building or just a guild meetup?
This is a guild meetup, just some random building. Yeah. It's pretty cool. And then like Toronto had theirs like a wedding reception venue, it looks like. So I don't know. It's a little
Not as cool as St. Charles, Missouri.
Yeah, definitely not as cool as this place. I got the orange walls. I think purple and orange work well. Okay, it's not terrible. Yeah, this is the last one I got for today. So unless there's any questions, any Polygon stories? Anybody find anything cool on Polygon lately?
Arcasia coming into the Polygon ecosystem, right?
Who?
Arcasia. They're like a zero knowledge, really fast, succinct like programming blockchain.
Did not know that. I'll have to add that one to the next. Oh, I forgot to add this one. So let's figure it out. So I think it was just a few months ago, we were at like 19,000 apps. Now we're at, 37,000 in just like a few months. So like the building on Polygon is going nuts. I don't know how many apps you use in like your daily life. I probably have like a dozen apps on my phone that I use. There's not like a need for this many apps. There'll be some winners in there that could become like the thing that everyone uses, like the Adobe Acrobat of Web3 could be built on in these 37,000 right now. We just don't know.
How tested do you have any reservations about Polygon after the merge, the integration levels and all that for Ethereum?
So it's supposed to be seamless. Like it should just act normally, provided that Ethereum acts normally.
Yeah, that's always the problem.
That's the challenge. My understanding, so it's going to be on the 15th. The merge is going to happen. They're going to switch from the proof of work to the proof of stake. So far, I think all the test nets have went well, except for one. They had like a 7-block outage. So I think they're ready, which is interesting because like I got into crypto like long after the merge was announced. Like I don't know when the merge was announced, like 2017 or something. So it's like been a long time coming. So I think a lot of people are jaded to the merge, but
I think Ethereum's like fusion. It's
I-
always 10 years out.
Yeah. I think it's gonna happen though. And there's a lot of punditry about what's gonna happen. A lot of people think that because right now, like miners need to sell Ethereum to finance their mining operation. So what happens when you don't have to sell Ethereum anymore? Like there's just it's gonna totally flip from sell pressure to buy pressure. Is what people think.
I hope so.
Yeah. So get your 32 ETH and start a node.
It's not that easy.
Yeah. So I think that's a really interesting. There's a number of apps that are being built. Yeah. So that is the last one. So go ahead.
So when Ethereum, presuming that it works well and switches to proof of stake, as a user of Polygon, would I notice any differences or would fees change at any sort or anything like that? As a Polygon user, that's not going to affect anything.
No, it shouldn't change. So that's a misconception about the merge is that like fees are going to come down. It's going to essentially cost the same. There'll be more throughput, but I don't think the fees are going to come down significantly. So it should be the same fee-wise because you're really talking about validating on Matic. That's what the fees go toward is the validators on the Matic network.
What about whenever Ethereum goes to sharding? How would that affect everything?
So that is part of the merge is the sharding. I don't think it's not going to change Polygon. Yeah.
Polygon just submits transactions to Ethereum just as another user does. So if you're using Polygon, they're doing all that abstraction for you. So it doesn't matter what underlying however Ethereum ends up working, the Polygon will work the same for you.
I just figured with Ethereum, eventually the prices will go down for gas, so I don't know how that would affect Layer 2, if that is the case.
Yeah, so Matic has its own gas fee structure that won't change based on Ethereum. If Ethereum fees do come down, there's a lot of talk that they won't come down because it doesn't really do much for fees. It just changes the consensus mechanism from mining to staking. So you still got to pay your validators. The only difference is they're not using electricity like as much. It's like, I don't know what the reduction is, like 99% or something crazy. Yeah. Go ahead.
I can ask questions so the cows come home.
Sure.
How difficult is it for an idiot to set up a Polygon node or to become a validator?
I would just delegate. It's very difficult to set up a node. You have to be
Do you
like,
know anything about Linux?
you're going to have to have, yeah.
I mean, setting up the nodes. and I've done it on a number of different platforms. Some are easy, some aren't. I would say just like the whole Ethereum is much more complex because there's different elements that you need in it. I haven't tried to set up a Polygon or anything like that, but I would imagine that it's not that simple.
Yeah, you need like a physical or a virtual computer that runs Linux and Python, and you're gonna need a certain amount of Matic tokens.
And memory.
Yeah, and specifications for your physical or virtual computer. It's better to just delegate, in my opinion. Like, you don't have to worry about, you don't have to think about your like node as often, right? Someone else is running it. Unless you're gonna be doing like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Matic, like just stake it with someone else, delegate it to someone else. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'll keep going for real. When was Polygon launched?
Polygon was launched in 2017. It was called Matic before, and they rebranded, I think, in 2020 to Polygon. That's why the token's still called Matic, just because it was, I guess, too hard to rebrand a token. You can rebrand a network name, but token's hard to rebrand. So they kept it as that. But yes, it started in India. Most of the core devs live in India, so it's really like a global user base now. But yeah, a lot of users concentrated in India, Southeast Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa. Yeah. What's up, Enoch?
I think you listen to a fair amount of bank lists. Whenever they're talking about layer twos, they never mention Polygon, which is weird to me, especially since like they're making headlines.
They do occasionally.
Okay.
It's usually in the context of like their business development and like partnerships. Polygon does not sponsor bank lists, whereas like the ones they talk about a lot do. So, yeah, I don't really know why Polygon doesn't get mentioned more. It's really the largest L2 in air quotes. It's not really an L2, but by market cap, I think it's the largest Ethereum scaling solution. The other ones maybe are more like technologically interesting to bank lists, but it's really, I think Polygon has a lot more adoption. Yeah. But yeah, no, I listen to bank lists a lot, and I do recognize that. I'm like, why aren't they talking about Polygon? Like, this, more people use Polygon than, Optimism or Arbitrum, like, especially like to live their daily life. Like people in Southeast Asia, Africa use it on the every day to do their regular, like I open my physical wallet and give someone like some cash money, like they just on the phone. So yeah, it doesn't really have like a banking infrastructure and like ATMs or like checking accounts or ACH, point of sale terminals. It's all their cell phones. So, which I think is interesting that they kind of leapfrogged us in like cell phone adoption for payments.
That's why a lot of people think like Africa's gonna become like in the loose regulatory environment and like a couple other factors, like it's a really good place for crypto adoption.
Yeah, you just gotta go live in the Central African Republic. Spin that legal tender Bitcoin. All right, so that's all I got, unless there's any more questions or people want to hang out and meet each other. I think maybe Jeff wants to give some closing remarks.
Sure.
22 September all day, 9 to 9, 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew, for talking about Polygon. But yeah, the 22nd of this month, it'll be a pretty big day. We just had a few people, while Andrew was talking, that Bitcoin Ben is coming to speak, and he moved to Florida for some tax benefits, but he'll be flying down for that. Tony Vase is in Panama that day, but he said he's gonna zoom in and congratulate us. So they're also other groups. Kevin Mirko with Coin Metro. We have the ATM company that we're going to be utilizing for our ATMs. Their CEO is coming down to demo the new ATM. Ballet Wallet's going to give us wallets for everybody to hand out for free. It's $35, $40 value, so pretty cool on that. So a lot more things going on that we can probably update next week. But yeah, so that's going to be our focus the next 3 weeks is that event. So if anybody has any VIP speakers that we can bring in, love to talk to you. We're also looking for some sponsors. Coin Metro is sponsoring, for a lot of the food stuff. But if anybody else could sponsor, we'd love to talk to you also. So thank you, and we'll see you the 22nd.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for grab a t-shirt. We got t-shirts. This t-shirt is available for free in the front if you want a Polygon t-shirt. Got large, medium, extra large.